Hi all, welcome to BIPOC Hour. My name is Corey Hunlin. I'm Two-Spirit, Tsilhqot'in from British Columbia. My pronouns are he, him, and yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, I can introduce myself too. My name is Kijate Alexandra Veillet-Chizo. I'm from the Anishinaabe Nation. My pronouns are she, they. I'm from everywhere in Quebec. I've been everywhere, but it's been 10 years since I've been living in Montreal. It's a big introduction.
Yeah. So what's your Two-Spirit story?
It's my story. It's a personal story, and it is for everyone, I think. I felt like I was, I don't know, it feels like cliche to say I was different from the others, but I felt like I saw things differently with me and how I felt about me and how I saw myself. And also I was disconnected from my culture and my community for a long time. I didn't know my language, my ceremony, the ceremonies, the dances, the elders. I didn't have any connection with them. So for a long time, I thought, yeah, I have an Indigenous name, but am I Indigenous? Like, am I Indigenous enough? And then I saw that our Two-Spirit group was going to march at the Pride in 2018, if I remember correctly. And I was like, wow, what is Two-Spirit? And then I did some research online. I was like, oh, so this is what I've been feeling like all my life. Like it's like putting words exactly in what I felt about myself. Like Two-Spirit, that's exactly it. And then I asked if I could join the group, and then they said yes. Like this is the Pride 2018. It was the day that I publicly say I was from the LGBTQ2SA+ community, and also that it was the day that I first connected with my community and my culture, and it was a really big day. It was an awesome day, and it started. That's where I started to reclaim who I am, my identity, and reconnect with the people. And that's why I love it so much here in Montreal, because there's a lot of diversity in people that we can connect to. So yeah, and since then I've been reclaiming who I am, and also discovering who I am and falling in love with myself. Like it's been a long journey, because it's been hard to love myself, like for many people also. So yeah, I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, and what about you?
So for me, I was in the closet for, I would say, till a couple years after high school. And I knew who I was. I knew I was unique. When I was really young, I didn't know what words to put towards it. But I knew it was like something I couldn't tell anybody. It became really obvious. And so I just dug it deep throughout elementary, throughout high school. Would never talk about girls or guys or anything. And it became, everyone was used to me not talking about relationships or anything. But then I eventually came out a couple of years after high school. I was with new friends, and they were a bit more just open. And I felt really comfortable with them. And it just hit me one day when I was at the beach.
It's always at the beach.
And they gave a double look, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's something there. But I always knew it was there, but I felt the surge of energy to like, oh, okay, this is who I am. And I eventually came out to my younger brother first, and then my friends. And I was the one step closer to myself. Came out as gay. At the time, I didn't know about Two-Spirits yet. And then 10 years later, I like moved to Montreal, just like in hopes for my photography career at the time. And when I first moved here, my first friend is Two-Spirit, and he just told me like, oh, hey, you're Two-Spirit. And I'm like, what do you mean, what? And I was like, wow, okay. And he's like, yeah. And he told me Two-Spirit is the umbrella term for the LGBT communities and the Indigenous communities.
Yeah.
And that really just, I guess, brought me closer to myself, the closest I've been so far.
Yeah.
And so I kind of did a deep dive into learning more about it. And I went to more events in Montreal. Montreal has a lot of events that teach about Two-Spirit and Indigenous subjects in general. And I learned that really quickly. And then I eventually I started meeting more people through the Native Montreal Friendship Center. And just exploring myself, pretty much, and understanding it more. But it's really nice.
Yeah, it is. It's really nice to find a community also. Like it feels like most of the people I met felt really isolated.
Yep.
And to be able to find other people who has felt the same thing and everything, it's really, really beautiful, and it helps us a lot. I mean, for me, like that's how I met you too. So.
Yeah.
It's nice to be here with you and talk about it, because I feel when I meet other people, and like I'm a little bit shy to ask them, so what is your Two-Spirit story, you know? So I'm glad that we have the time to talk about it, and
I love it.
Yeah, that we can feel comfortable enough to just talk about this and share our experience.
Yeah, recently, so like a year ago, I've also learned about indigiqueer, like that term, and I love that the younger generation is starting to use that too, because some people don't connect with Two-Spirit. Everyone has their own different reasons and things that they connect to, but I love that indigiqueer is coming up.
Yeah, I love it too.
Also. Yeah, and like I also like learned about a story from like a Two-Spirit elder from he was on the podcast, but it was through this music artist. I forget his. I'm bad with names.
You can Google it if you want.
Yeah.
That's why we have Google.
But he talked about the story that he heard from a Two-Spirit elder about when people used to travel through Indigenous communities to a different one. The first question they'd ask when they arrive is, are there any in-between people here?
Yeah.
And if the answer was no, they would move on to a different community because they would see that there's no balance in that community. And I thought that was a powerful story to learn.
It is, because we need balance, and a lot of things happen that the balance is broken right now. So it's nice to see that us being us can bring balance. It's really touching.
And it just makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It really does. To just, like the world was as it was, and then it got disrupted. So I'm glad that we're here to just try to heal it and heal ourselves at the same time. So, and did you felt at one point that you wanted to change your pronouns, or did you?
Oh yeah. So I've always felt he, him my whole life, and I've just loved being a dude who loves dudes. But I was more masculine growing up, mostly because I was in the closet until like after high school. So I really had to hide it and present as masculine.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wish to like know how I sounded, because I definitely don't sound like that as I did in high school. But yeah, after I came out, I did explore being more feminine. Not as much. I was still getting comfortable with myself, and I also just didn't love myself at the time too, right? So I didn't know it at the time, but eventually I was like, oh, okay.
Okay. It all makes sense when you get older, which is it's nice, but at the same time I wish I knew when I was younger. But that's the thing right now, because we're talking about it, because there's more and more representation. There is more and more younger people who gets to know this and feel like, oh, okay, so this is why I'm feeling like this. And it's really nice to see that. Like really young people being trans, like, oh my God, yes, like they know, I don't know. It feels really nice to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And like, so once I like moved to Montreal and I learned about Two-Spirits, I even became even more closer to myself, and I started expressing myself more feminine, which feels more natural to me. And so now I express myself. Like, with my
it's really nice nails. I love it.
I always have to get them done now.
I remove them. It's like almost not almost extension, but anyway, I'm trying to get more because
there's like, for me, it's like a sense of power to it, like especially in my femininity, like feminine side. There is a power to it for me.
It is really powerful, like those claws. And like when I see your pictures when you're beating with your nails, it's really nice.
It's another layer to me also. So like, I also want to be as Two-Spirit presenting as possible too, in a way. To let people know, like, hey,
it's like wearing beads when we're Indigenous. I forgot mine today, but like yours are really. This is your work. No. It's really nice.
And my earrings, but I try to present myself a little bit more nowadays, because it feels nice. After being in a closet for so long.
And I mean, I feel like also I'm getting more and more comfortable in expressing myself too. Like when I was younger, I also wanted more to be like, oh, I'm not like the other girls. I don't like pink. It's too girly. I don't like Barbies and everything. So even though I did, but I didn't want to be judged, just because it was a sign, like a weakness if you were girly, you know, which doesn't make sense. But today, like I'm wearing all kind of colors and I feel really powerful like this because I like them. I feel beautiful. I feel powerful. So I'm really happy to have found myself and just be comfortable to wear what I want, and the makeup too. Like it just and love girly things. Like I love playing video games. I love Animal Crossing, The Sims, which is like girly games again. But it doesn't mean it's weaker. I don't know. But it just I just like you said, to express myself and be who I want to be.
So for the next topic,
can we talk about ourselves?
So like the recent news with the residential schools is pretty heavy. It's been like a roller coaster of a month.
I mean, years for me, I guess. It's that's the thing. It's something that always was with us, and I think it's important to talk about this because it's part of our reality, and it's exhausting to talk about it, but it's important to do in a nice setting, right? Like right now, we're ready to talk about it. But always receiving messages. I mean, it's nice to receive messages of support and everything, but also questions, because some people are just finding this out right now, and there's shock, of course, so they want to do what they can do. So they reach out to their closest Indigenous person, but it is really heavy for me, like every time I need to talk about this. it's really personal since my father is a residential survivor, residential school survivor.
Yeah.
I saw what it did to him and our family, and like it's the reason why I don't know my language and everything, because he wasn't there to share it with me, because he had to relearn it, and he has still doing it today. He has to heal for everything that's been going on, and I'm not the only one, I know. So when all the news is getting out about what we're finding our children and getting them back home, it's heavy.
Yeah, it could get heavy. When I first heard about it, it has hit me really different and like really hard, because we knew about it, we know about the history, but when you hear about them finding the graves with babies, it just hit me really hard. And then eventually, like, I didn't know in the moment that it hit me that hard.
Same.
So like, but especially like when I went to the march, I almost didn't go.
Me
just
too.
because it was a lot to handle.
Yeah, it is.
But thankfully, in the last minute, I decided to just bike over and join my other friends. That's what made me go. Is like, no, I have to be with friends.
Yeah, that's me too. Yeah.
And like, we don't even have to talk about it, but we could go through the march and like, just be there with everyone and each other. But I noticed probably like that week, I started getting messages from friends and allies, which is really nice.
Yeah.
But sometimes they would send a big paragraph.
Yeah, like some people want to debate about this, but it's not up to debate for us. It's our lives. So it's exhausting just doing a discussion about it. So
And like, it just takes a lot of energy sometimes. Some days I can't reply to those. And I think it's just good to be aware of a friend's energy. Before, like, ask them if they have the energy to reply to something like that.
Yeah, I got some message like this. Like, I know it's been a lot for you. Like, I got a message like this. I know it's been a lot for you lately.
Yeah.
And you don't have to reply, but I just wanted to let you know I'm here if you want to talk. Like, it feels like, grieving, and this is what we're doing right now. We're grieving.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of message you send someone who's grieving. So I like this message, and I just sent a heart. I didn't have the energy to say, "Oh, thank you so much." Just a heart to let them know that I appreciate it, the message. It's like you said, at the march we needed to be together, and that's why I went there, because I wanted to get. I also started doing some drumming. That's what I did at the first. When I started getting back into my culture, I did my hand drum at Native Montreal, and then I use it for a lot of things to just make me feel centered, but also heal.
Yep.
Because a drum is a reflection of who we are and our heart. So when we bring our drums at the march, we bring our hearts, we bring we bring ourselves, and I just followed the drummers. And we all drummed together at the march, and it's all our hearts were beating together.
Wow.
So this is why I needed this. I needed to be with our people,
Yeah.
And it was a day to grieve also, this march. It wasn't it is political, but for me it wasn't like a protest, it was more of a grieving march, I have to say. And also a healing march. We were there to just remember the children we lost, but also the children that are still here, that survived, but went through so many things.
Exactly. yeah, for me, like when I was getting those messages, I like had to deal with it in my own way, and like I did send like short replies also.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, how do you? I guess like with allies, what would the best way for them to like if they want to help?
Yeah.
And they want to send a paragraph, but what else should they do other than?
I mean, I do some workshops with Mikana to raise awareness about cultures, about our cultures and realities. And I get this question a lot, and I say, well, there's a lot of resources. You can start there. Online, there's a lot of books you can read, websites, videos, YouTube. There's Wapikoni, the website of Wapikoni. There's so many short films you can look at, short films made by Indigenous people to tell their story. So it's really Indigenous people telling their story. So
yeah,
this is really nice. So they can start like doing some research that way. There's workshops also, like I said. And then I guess we can create a safe environment to talk about it. Like right now, we're in a safe environment to talk about it. I'm not at the grocery store. Like it happened to me, like because I was wearing beads. Yep. Someone told me, "Oh, t'es-tu amérindienne? So are you Aboriginal?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm Indigenous." Yeah, oui, je suis autochtone. And then she proceeded to she had really good intentions, but she proceeded to tell all of her traumas. Oh, the Indigenous people have it bad. You know, the communities are filled with drugs and everything. Was like, okay, well, I don't have time to do a workshop of 2 hours with you at the grocery store.
Yeah.
But I didn't say that. I was polite and saying, yeah. I just wanted to get my milk and eggs. But yeah, it's, like I said, it's where we can ask those questions. If it's in the environment like this, it's okay for me. Yeah. Or if you go to a workshop given by Indigenous people, this is the time to give your questions. Especially when I'm doing Mikana workshops. Yeah. We tell people this is a safe environment. You can ask us anything, but I also tell them sometimes we can just not choose to answer them because we're not comfortable enough.
Yeah, because it takes time and energy.
Yeah.
And some fellow like Indigenous can say, "Oh, are you willing to pay money for me to teach you?"
Yeah. That's a nice joke every time.
Because it's true. It takes a lot of time and energy.
It's really exhausting mentally.
Yeah, I think like a good way for non-Indigenous people to do their research is they could research the Indian Acts.
No, yeah.
They could search things about the residential schools online. They could search about the child welfare system. There's a lot of current things happening that aren't really talked about, right? So like, I do understand when they don't know what's going on, and they tell me that one narrative of like what they hear from the news, because the news could be really clickbaity.
Yeah, the news can tell their stories. That's why we need more and more Indigenous people to tell their stories.
Yeah, I remember you were talking about in the French news, they have like a narrative.
I remember when there was a lot of support for Wet'suwet'en, the Wet'suwet'en Nation, in February of last year.
Yeah.
I feel like there were more Indigenous voices in the English media. In the French, it was really one-sided. It was really like, Indigenous people are still blocking the rails and disturbing the peace. I don't know why they say that, but I feel like there was no people telling why we're doing this. We were just, it was just a bunch of Indigenous people are still at it again, you know? So I feel like we need more voices in the French media. Yeah. And this is why I'm going to the university to journalism program. So I want to learn about this and see how we can elevate our voices in the French media. And I think it's so much. It's really important because when I open Facebook and I see so much news, and for me it's French news.
Yep.
There's nice articles sometimes, but sometimes when I go look at comments and under Journal de Montréal article, I feel like, wow, there's so much more work we need to do because people are so feel like there's a lot of ignorance, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
And at the same time, I don't. How can I say this? We live like I was in this system too.
Yep.
I didn't learn about our realities or our past, our history, but I knew it because my father was talking about this. Like he told me why he was feeling like this and everything. He talked about me about the residential schools really young.
My parents went to residential school also, and they're survivors as well. But I didn't learn that much about it because it was hard for my mom, for example, to talk about it. She would say some stuff when I was growing up, but in general, I had no idea. Until like moving to Montreal, and then I learned more about it, and I was like, okay. Because I remember when I was younger, it was hard for her when they did the court thing for the compensation.
Yeah.
It was even hard for her to talk about it in the court.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, that must have been really traumatizing to relive. And I can't even imagine how that is.
Yeah, my father invited his children to the court, and I was there. I was like 13.
Okay.
It was really like, I still remember the questions they asked him. It was really hard questions. And I don't know, I was like trying to not be too affected by it. Yeah. But right now I still remember, and
oh, wow.
Yeah, it brings the traumas back, and like right now with all the news coverage, it brings traumas back.
Yep.
And I think, like I said, I was getting more connected with the community, and I was getting in gatherings with Two-Spirit people and elders, and then pandemic arrived.
Yep.
And it felt like we were disconnected. We were separated. And since then, I'm having troubles to stay connected, you know?
Yeah, like I remember, before time, before the pandemic, there was a lot of, Two-Spirit events, and there was constant invites on Facebook, and I kind of didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
But then once the pandemic hit, obviously everything kind of shut down.
Yeah.
And things switched to Zoom.
Yeah, there was a nice events on Zoom. Like I was able to do drum feasting, like with the berries and everything. With an elder, we were like gathering, but on on Zoom.
Yeah,
it was nice to have this, but it was my first experience, like on Zoom. I'm still grateful for it.
Yeah,
but right now I don't know where I can find this.
Yeah, it'd be good to have. I've always like wished that there would be more Two-Spirit like spots you could go to in every city. Like you could just Google up and be like, oh, I could like go have a hangout sesh at this organization.
Too. Like there was one at Native Montreal. That's where it started for me.
Yeah.
But with everything, it shut down too. So, but we're still like, I keep touch with people online, but like I miss the way that we were like so close before. Like I was like, I think it was in the beginning of February.
Yep.
I went to a gathering and there was elders, and they're Two-Spirit elders, and they were talking about their stories. And I was like, wow, finally I can talk to an elder. And then I think a few days after the lockdown was there. I was like, oh no.
Okay.
And then we focused on just surviving, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know what I wanted to say. But yeah.
Yeah, like for me, I was pretty Zoom shy last year.
Yeah, it is intimate.
Intimate, yeah.
Intimidating.
Or intimidating.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, because for me, it's like another version of public speaking.
Yeah.
But I eventually got back into it. And yeah, there was some two-spirit Zooms that I watched, and like they were really powerful. And it was really connecting, and it felt understood. But yeah, I do wish there was more.
Yeah. Well, there was like Web or Virtual Kin. They did a bunch of events for BIPOC and BIPOC in the LGBTQ community, and it was nice. There was one where I was invited to do a song.
Yep.
And it was the first time someone invited me to do that, so I was really nervous. So I kept repeating the song I wanted to sing, which was one of the first songs I heard and reminded me of my father. It's the Spirit Bearer song.
Okay.
And my father, his name was Makwa before he was taken. And right now he's trying to take back his name because they gave him a royal name, Roy, you know. It was Europeans or Catholic names they gave to the children, or just numbers too.
Okay.
But yeah, so yeah, I sang the song. I was really happy to have sang it, and yeah, singing for me helps me a lot to just feel better. And the fact that I could have done this with other people online was nice. But like we were discussing before, it's so much powerful when we are all drumming together at the same place. You can feel how powerful it is because everything is beating at the same time. So
yeah, like I can't wait till there's more like organizations where we could just all meet up.
Yeah.
All 2S folks, BIPOC folks.
Yeah, like I wish. I guess it's coming. It's coming. I see some things getting into motion right now.
Yeah,
it's coming. It's but still lost a little bit. Like I don't know where to go. I don't know where to meet up. I don't know where the people are. Where are my people at? Okay, sorry. I got this in my head. I listened to RuPaul Drag Race yesterday. So anyway, but yeah, I wish, yeah, it's getting there, but I wish it was now. I'm impatient, I guess.
Okay, yeah, I noticed that in Facebook invites, kind of just like, they're non-existent right now.
Yeah, really, I don't have anything, and we were supposed to have like a gathering in the woods, in the bush, but it got canceled because of the pandemic, so it would have been so great to just go off the grid and be with, because I never done that. I never been connected directly to the land.
Yeah.
I think I did it one time when I was in the cadets, but but like I wanted to do with elders and with the community. But we just have to wait. But we've been waiting a lot.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it right now. Like, I low-key just want to start something.
You want to start something?
Yeah, like some sort of circle.
Yes.
That just came to me now.
Yeah, let's do this again. Let's call our friends and do this. But something else I saw, because my friends are mostly French speaking.
Okay.
And I feel like there's not a lot of resources for the French speaking. Like it's all English I saw. Like it's something I observed. It's mainly English, which makes sense because it started more in the West and now it's coming here. And like at one point I asked an Indigenous teacher, she's teaching the Anishinaabe language, and I asked, is there a word for, because she was talking, so this word is for women and this word is for men. And I was like, is there a word for in between, you know? And she said, I don't think so, because she went to talk to elders in the community, in the French communities and Algonquin communities, and they told her that no, there's no homosexuals in Algonquins and everything. And like when I heard that, it hurt me a little bit, because yes, there are. But what hurt me is because the elders we have right now are survivors of the residential schools, so there's still some colonial mentality still there, you know. But I know there's more. There's more and more healing being done, and so I feel like we need a lot more community too in the French community, because it's. I try to think of a group who is French speaking, and I don't remember. It's all English.
That's a good point though, because I've never been to like a circle, like a BIPOC circle that's been bilingual.
Yeah, and I know a lot of French speaking or the spirit or just in the LGBT community.
Yeah. And
that's something that I've been told too, like they don't know where to go to, because sometimes they just don't speak English. So where do we go when we don't speak English? So maybe we should create we should create with the French, but create something bilingual, because that's the thing it's all communities are English or French. And I heard a lot of people think, I already know one colonial language, why should I learn another one?
Yeah.
Which is valid, you know? So we need to do something together, you know?
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do understand that we have to try to find more, or maybe somebody who's listening.
Yes, please.
They can make some connections.
Like a leader. But I know there's something there. Yeah, we can create committees, I guess, with different people from different nations and also different communities.
Yeah, because there's so many. There's like the BIPOC community is so diverse in Montreal.
Yeah,
and like I'd love to like learn more.
Yeah.
About everyone. I know. I can't wait.
Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I want to go to the Pride, but I don't know, is there a group for us, or do we go there or on our own? But
yeah, there's usually like, I remember before the pandemic, there was people who would reach out to us.
Yeah.
Like, it was all by word though, right?
Yeah. I remember before the pandemic, there was the Pride was at the same time of a youth gathering.
Yeah.
So all the youth were at the gatherings and not at the Pride. I wanted to go to the Pride, but I was at the gathering too. So I remember I saw videos of it was only the drummers who were there, and there was no other people. So I felt really bad, because I wish we had representation at the Pride too. Like,
yeah.
So maybe I don't know where we can reach out to everyone so we can be there. Wish.
Right. Hopefully we'll eventually find out.
Yeah, hopefully soon.
But it is really good seeing there is more representation happening.
Yeah.
And I love that people are starting to learn more about Two-Spirit folks. Yeah. Because I'm hearing a lot now, especially this year.
Yeah.
And it does really feel good.
Yeah, it does. It's nice to see that we're there, and it's not just because I have a lot of self-doubt. So when I'm alone with my thoughts, like it's a little bit harder. So when I'm with people, it's better. So I wish we could find us soon.
What was that one event? The Two-Spirit the Zoom
A web of virtual kin?
Yeah, the web of virtual kin.
Yeah, I think they asked me to go there for a prize ceremony because they were nominated for something, but I was busy, so I couldn't go there. But they won, so it's nice.
Wow.
Yeah, and like what was nice with Web of Virtual Kin when they wanted to represent this organization or this initiative, it was hard to find someone because it's the community who did this. Like it's not just one person. It was a lot of. That's why I'm really glad that we're just talking to. It's just not one person because our community is that it's a lot of people and a lot of voices, different voices, and like we're talking about our own voices, but there's so much more voices that needs to be heard. You know, they all have their own story, and their own way to see things. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait for an easier way to connect with each other, and also an easier way for people who want to create organizations for Two Spirits, but they don't know who to reach out.
Yeah.
Like they don't know how to reach out to Two-Spirit individuals.
And it's not like you're going to the street. Are you Two-Spirit? Are you Two-Spirit?
Yeah. And I would love to see more representation in organizations that run Two-Spirit programs, or because sometimes I see an organization, but there's no Two Spirits that are running it, or at least like one person like giving some input.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I wish we're Two Spirits, but we're also part of the LGBTQ community too. Like so, I just don't want to be like Two Spirits and then the community there. We're all together. This is why there's many colors in the rainbow.
That's true.
Yeah. So I just wish we could just be together, like at the Pride. This is why I like the Pride, because we're all together, and I miss it. So yeah.
Yeah. So one thing I noticed is we both know is there's usually one narrative about Indigenous people in general, the stereotypes, and there's a lot of heavy news that goes on, but there's going to be it's going to be happening for a while. But there's also a lot of good things happening.
Yes, definitely.
With like, 2S folks, and then also in the Indigenous communities, there's a lot of achievements going on. There's a lot of hope in the community as well. Yeah.
Like for me personally, like I said earlier, I'm going back to study in the university, which is a little bit scary, but at the same time, I'm really excited to go because I'm going to learn about how to learn more about journalism, so I can, so we can have more voices that are our own, like in the media. And I did some short films with Wapikoni too, and my last short film is doing a lot of travel in the festivals. It's nice. Just yesterday at the Imagination Queer Festival, Short Films Queer Festival. Sorry, it's a long name. I got the jury Best Film Award. So I was like, oh wow, it's like it's being recognized, and I'm really happy because in the short film I'm talking about like I said earlier, like trying to love myself, but at the same time we have all these thoughts of like, no, I'm not good enough. I'm like, no, I'm ugly because beauty standards. And in the short film I'll talk about how I want to reconnect with myself and reconnect with my heart. And I use the word hudaimen, which means strawberry, but also means heartberry in Anishinaabemowin.
Okay.
And it's a way to stay connected with the berry, and it also connects us. The berry also connects the sun to the earth and everything. So I'm trying to talk about my heart through a strawberry. Wow. And I'm in the river and everything. I'm really like being the river, connected to the nature and everything, helps me be connected to me and loving me. And I mentioned also the fact that I want to reconnect with my two spirits too. So I'm really happy that it's having a life in the festivals, because I want to reach people, I want to connect with people, and this is the best way to connect with people all around.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
I'm really happy. It went to hot dogs too. Like I don't know why it's, I'm really grateful. I mean, that it's been recognized. And
wow.
I'm really happy about this film because I really put my heart into it, literally. I put myself into it. I filmed some shots of my body, which I don't really, I'm still learning to learn it, to love it. I mean, I'm still learning to love it.
Yeah.
So it's really intimate and personal as a short film. So I'm really grateful that people are liking it,
Okay, yeah.
So this is what I'm doing right now. I'm doing a residency also on XR, which means extended reality, or virtual reality, but extended. So I'm doing a residency in that. I have a VR project that I'm doing right now, so to talk about anxiety.
Wow, yeah.
So yeah, so.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I'm so proud of you. Like I keep sending your Instagram page to everyone. So
thank you.
Tell us about you.
Yeah, so I've been in the bead world for the past 4 years. And I've been running my business, This Claw,
Yeah.
for 3 years now. And through those 3 years, I've been learning a lot about just myself in general and connecting with in the Indigenous communities. And I've done a lot of workshops with so many different organizations.
Yeah.
And it really connects me. Ooh, I get like emotional, but it reminds me of why I beat in the first place, and that's to connect and keep the tradition going on. Also create new traditions.
Yeah.
I'm open to that. But I'm super grateful also. And last year I sold my earrings with the Indigenous Fashion Week in Toronto. And that was amazing.
Yes.
And they like connected me with John Beads.
Yeah.
Like I did an interview with the owner.
Wow.
And also other organizations. And it was just amazing.
Yeah, it's so nice to see someone like you being recognized too. Like it's so amazing too. That's why I'm like, look at his creations, and then they're like, I want it. You better put an alarm on notification because they get going away fast. And
I'm also just obsessed with making earrings.
Yeah. This is amazing. Like you do something that you love, and people are loving it.
Yeah. And there's a lot of things happening in the future too.
Yeah.
I can't really talk about what's happening in the fall, but it's a collab. That's all I could say. And it's just the next level for me with my business.
I see a lot of two-spirit folks being like connected, but also representing themselves. Yeah, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see that we're not alone.
Exactly.
And people are reclaiming like their language and everything. I see, like we said earlier, there's young folks also being connected to that, and like just be themselves without feeling isolated,
Yeah.
and I'm wondering what hopes you have for the future about that.
I'm hoping to expand my business and hire more 2S Indigenous folks, BIPOC folks, and just take it to the next level.
Yeah.
I do have like some ideas. I think of my business as malleable. So it could form into anything. So I am in between.
Yeah.
There's no template.
But that's the thing, like we're so used to have one way of doing things.
Yeah.
So, and I see a lot of more Indigenous owned businesses. What's the word? Flourishing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're doing it in their own way. It's amazing, and it's like, yeah.
And yeah, I hope to see more stories about Two-Spirit, like who are doing great and doing great for themselves in general. But do you have anybody that you know?
A lot of
doing some.
I know people are Two-Spirit, but like I know the names that we all know, like are like Dana. Mo.
Dana's always amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing, and Mo and Nina that are gonna be here too. So it's nice to hear their name. Yeah, it's nice to hear their voices too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a blank right now. I know.
Yeah, like what hopes do you have for your future or in general?
I guess I see, like I keep saying that, but I see young people being in the culture, learning the language, and being happy. And this is what I want in the future, like more and more of that, so that one day we don't have to fight for our rights. You know, it's beautiful to be resilient, but it's exhausting, like we discussed.
Yeah.
So just be happy to be ourselves and just focused on sharing and being together. It's a little bit cliche because what I just said, but I don't know. I'm really hoping one day it's going to be like this. I mean, we can't go back to what it was before the colonialism, but where we evolved also, and we can go back to our traditional ways, but also like continue evolving with what we learned, because and like you said, the more and more voices, more representation, and it's a beautiful thing to come out, but I wish that one day we don't have to come out. We're just like this, you know?
Exactly.
It's a beautiful thing, and I know if it's a personal journey to come out, you know?
Yeah.
And it's okay if you didn't. It's okay if you did. Like, do it in your own time, or don't do it. It's I don't know. It's personal, like I said. I don't know if it makes sense what I just said, but
I understand.
Yeah, you understand. Yeah, I think we get it. Yeah. And yeah.
And what hopes do you have for I guess not hopes, but future projects or things do you have in the future going on?
Yeah, I want to do like a feature-length documentary one day. I really want it. I had a project before the pandemic, and then it all changed. My inspiration went away. I want to get it back, but it's getting back. But I want to do a feature-length film about our realities and like show that we're all not just one entity. We're like different realities and voices, and I want to show that. Maybe go more also in the urban areas, because like more than 50% of the Indigenous people are living outside of the communities, and I think we need to talk about that. And I already did a short film to talk about Indigenous in the city called Kabak. You can see it on Wapikoni.
Yes.
But yeah, I want to keep going going to, I want to continue to contribute to elevating our voices.
Okay.
And also I want to do things that make me happy, you know, play video games. I'm just kidding. Like, like, you know, just learn more and more about drumming, songs, and also my language. I want to learn it. It's hard for me because online it's hard for me to learn the language because it's a language you learn on the land with the people and you have to live it. Like it's not, it's more oral, you know. So so like I remember who named him because it was an elder holding a strawberry and telling me what it was, and it was at an opening ceremony. He had a strawberry in front of him. It's like, so this strawberry, it's Houdaman, Hurtberry. He's like, oh, okay. So I remember, yeah, I wish I could have this experience to go back in my community and reconnect with the elders to just listen to them first because they have a lot to say.
I also want to do that eventually. Hopefully, like in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
I'll like head back out west and kind of reconnect a bit. And because I know it'll also affect my business too, and like also like new ideas will come from that on how to just be more connected.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little bit scared because I didn't live in the community, you know.
Yeah.
But one point, one of my family member left a comment under one of my pictures, and she said, "You're always welcome because we share the same blood, you know. So your blood is there at the community, so you can go back anytime you want." So I was like, "Oh wow, okay."
Okay, yeah.
It was really nice. I was really touched about that. Thank you so much for today. It was really nice to talk with you, and
it was really nice.
Yeah,
it's like a full-on catch-up.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I spoke to you in real life, you know, real life, in person. So I'm really happy to have been able to be with you right now.
Thank you for sharing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing. I mean.